Welcome on this new video by ivolagility.com. Today we are going to look at what we can do with the data that we extract from iVolive. So in the previous video I was showing you how to get data from iVolive. Now we're going to look at a couple of techniques, a couple of things that we can do with the data. So step number one, we go in iVolive. If you've seen the previous video, that should be very straightforward. So you go in iVolive, you select the data that you want to look at. So let's focus on AMC, for example. It's going to load the AMC page here. Then we set, whatever criteria, whatever things we want to look at. So here we've got volume, open interest, etc. We are going to select all strikes, click apply, hit download. Then I agree, proceed, just read the terms and conditions, and it's going to download the data down there. So now we're going to open this file into Excel and to look at the data that's provided. Okay, so when we open this data in Excel, it looks like that. So it's a bit messy. Essentially, it's a flat file. So it's a CSV file that contains all the information. And so the first thing we're going to have to do is to convert that information from a CSV file to a proper Excel setting so we can play and with the data that we've just downloaded. So the simplest way is to click A, column A, go in data, text to column, and then you're going to go delimited by semicolon, click finish. And now you see that the system has automatically converted all of the available columns into specific Excel columns, and so the format is easier to read now. So we've got different information, different fields, so you can see that we have a lot of information here and it can be a bit overwhelming. First thing to notice is the fact that on each of the rows you'll get both the call, which we have here, and you will get the puts as well. So you get the put side and the call side, and so everything is split between puts and call. In this particular case, we try to find the options that were the most active on a specific day, and so to find the options that were the most active on a specific day, we are just going to create a table that has both the stock, that has both the calls and the puts. So first thing, select column A, click insert, and then we're going to insert a few of those columns to get some space. So number one, we're going to get symbol. So the option symbol is going to be defined simply by this. So we'll take first the calls, which we are going to move here, and then we'll take the puts, which we will move underneath the calls. So we go all the way down and then we'll add the puts. Right. Then, so that's for the symbol. Number two is the strike. So for the strike, it's going to be easy. We're going to add the same strike column, but twice. So we're going to go take this, put it here, then go all the way down, put it here again. And we can see that, we still have a 65 against the 65. You can find the 65, which is specifically here. We get 19, 19, 12.5, etc. So it's working fine. We want to look at the call volume, but instead we're going to call this volume. I will take all of these options. Now it's a bit tricky to select everything because you see you've got these blank empty rows. So whenever something has a volume of 0, so when it has not traded, it's going to be reflected as a blank column. So we want to select everything, but we're going to have to do it manually. So we'll select everything manually, go all the way down, and then we'll select this, go back up, paste it here, and then we'll do the same thing on the put volume. So put volume is going to be just here, and we'll select everything all the way down, and we'll go here and we'll paste this here, and we'll make sure again it matches, so we can see that the length approximately matches. There's been no volume on these two. If we're in doubt, we can check that the 34 and the 65s have had no volume. So if I'm looking for the 34 and the 65s, they've had no volume, right? So that's fine. So now I've got strike, volume. I'm going to copy the expiration as well. So the expiration date is here. So same thing, I'm going to copy this twice in a row, and I'm going to call this expiration. And then if I want to widen, I can right click here, or I can even do double click on this side, or I can go right click, column width, and I can set the width here. Go all the way down, and I can see I've got a July option, and that matches. Here I should have a September, and that matches. Okay, that's fine then. What else do we need from here? I think for the example that we're going to do is probably fine. So what we need to find now is the type. Now to find the type, we're going to have to play with this here. if you haven't downloaded the type, which I haven't done here, if you haven't downloaded the type, you're gonna have to play with column A a little bit. Now, if you look at the construction, you can see that first, we've got the AMC symbol, then we've got some blank, which is there to allow for tickers with longer number of characters. Then we get 6 digits for the date, then a call, and then we get these digits, and there are 2, 4, 6, 8 digits for the strikes. So if we take the last 9 numbers, the last 9 characters here, and then we'll take the first of those 9, we're gonna get the type, and we can expand this, so we can just go there, right click on this little thing here, and that's gonna copy the formula all the way down, and we should get calls and put here. Now we get a nice table. What we want to do is make sure that this table doesn't change, so we'll go Control C, right click, paste special, and then we'll go for paste special values, which is here, and then these formulas have not been replaced by a value. So whatever happens, it's not going to be dynamic anymore. Okay, so we'll go there, make it nice. We just select. So if you want to select everything, Control A, Control plus A, and then you can just, for example, put some border, add some bold at the top, Control B, etc., etc. And then we're going to sort things by, volume. So to select everything, you'll go on A1, Control A, go Data, Filter, and then if you go back to the top, you'll see that you get this little down arrow that you can click, and then you can sort largest to smallest. So we'll click largest to smallest. Now, what we find is the options that were traded or that had the largest amount of volume as of Friday's close. What were the options that had the largest amount of volume on AMC? So as a reminder, AMC close price was roughly 12.47. So what we can see here is that the most active options were options that expired on the 24th of June. The options are now gone, we're past the expiration, so those options have all expired. So we could create, for example, a special column asking if it's an expired option. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the expiration date here. So we're going to say the expiration date is this one, right? So we'll copy this, and then we're going to say if that cell is equal to this one, and we'll freeze by pressing F4, so to make sure it doesn't move. So when we go down, it doesn't shift down. We want A1, otherwise we want a 0. And then we'll go all the way down, and you'll copy this. Alternatively, you can just go here, select here, double click there. That's going to go all the way down, right? So you can see that I'll add a little space here so it's easier to read, but we can see that, if we look at these first 4 options, so the most liquid options, the most traded options on Friday, were all options that expired on the day. So it was probably people who were closing positions, or people who were unwinding positions into the expiration, but those were the most active options. So those are the expired options. We could also create another important cell, which is the percentage of volume. So what volume does this represent over the entire volume traded on the day? So we'll select everything, F4 again, press enter, and then again, we'll go here, we'll paste, and then we'll change the format slightly, like that, center as a percentage, add some digits behind some decimal places, and we can see that those 4 first options, if we look at the bottom right, represented 29.47% of all the total volume that traded in AMC on that day. And if we select only options that expired on the 24th, those options altogether made up 43.72% of all the volume that was traded in AMC. If we go back here, select everything but options that are now expired. So if we want to focus on what people were doing outside of options that expired, what were people doing? Here we have 56.28% of all the volume. We can see again, if you look at the bottom right, if you look here, you can see 56.28% of all volume was traded on options that did not expire on the 24th of June. And within those options, the most actively traded options were the 13 calls expiring on the 1st of July. So again, very short-dated options. So we've got, almost half of all options that were traded on Friday that traded with a strike that was with an expiration, that was the 24th of June. And we can see that, if we take the next maturity available, so if we go here and we'll take the 1st of July, which is the first consecutive expiration, it's making up 29.28%, so almost 30%. So we get more than 40% of all volume that traded on options that are now expired, and we get 30% of the volume that traded on options expiring on the 1st of July. So pretty much people are trading options that are extremely short dated at this stage. They're trading options that are incredibly short dated. In fact, if we select everything and we just take 2022 and we look at all the volume that was traded on Friday, 97.4% of all the options that were traded on Friday traded with an expiration year of 2022. So people are very much focused at this point on options. They're very much focused on options that are short dated. Another metric that we could look at is to look at strike. So for instance, we can select all of the maturities available here, then sort again, smallest to largest, and then you'll just go here and you'll find 12.5. You go there and then select everything. That's like 68%, right, including 12.5. So including 12.5, 68% of all traded options, of all options that traded on Friday, were at the strike, which was above 12.5. So it's worth bearing in mind, that we're seeing that kind of volume. If we look for options that are very, very deep out of the money, so for instance, options that are, let's say, 20 or above, $20 or above as a strike, we're getting 15% of the volume that is on options that have a strike above $20. So again, very important analysis, something that is very important to be able to conduct, to get some information. When we write the market updates on a daily basis, this is one of the techniques that we use. We'll go in charts, and then within charts, we'll select, for example, let's just load. Let's say we're looking at AMC and we want to look at open interest on AMC, so we'll just load AMC, open interest. We'll take a range of, say, 1 year, take both calls and puts, show me volume. And then we'll just, take a look at some stocks like these. We'll find the stocks that are sort of like in trend, so options that people are talking about, or options where there is a story going on. And we'll just keep an eye on those names. And once in a while, we'll just double check how the volumes are distributed. Are we seeing an increase in volume? So for example, on Nike, we're starting to see an increase in volume. So that would warrant that we'll download the Nike volume profile, and then we'll start playing with the options to try and see what people are doing. So if we're seeing that there is a lot of activity, for example, on upside calls in a stock that goes up, then we'll suppose that people are trying to buy calls, and we can like that. We can create sort of like hypothesis to try to describe what the market is doing and what's happening precisely in the option market. Now, we'll never get a clear picture. We'll never get a 100% certainty picture, but we'll get a good educated idea of what's happening, and it will sort of like allow us to make assumptions, and then we can test those assumptions. So we can then see what is going on, and that's very important. So that's one of the things we can do. I'll show you more in future videos. If you have any thoughts of things that you'd like to see using our data, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help. So you can either write to us on support@ivolatility.com or just leave a comment down below. And if you like the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you want to try our platform, you can just go onto the website ivolatility.com, and then if you go to products and iVolive platform, you'll find all the information, and you'll see that we offer a 3 weeks free trial, so you can get more information about the kind of things that is included in that plan. I hope you really like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.